Christine Weber. Oh, here we go. Hey there, I'm Christine Weber. Welcome to my weekly live stream. I usually come on 11 o'clock on Wednesdays, and today I forgot to push the start button. So this is take two. So welcome. Nice to have you here. I love to support mature yoga teachers in their offerings and in helping to build their career. That's part of a huge part of my mission. And I want to share with you today a little bit about some opportunities for yoga teachers. What you'll see in the description of this video is I talked a little bit about research. I think the researchers are really the rock stars of the yoga world in a lot of ways, and that is because they validate, they provide validity of our practices to the healthcare community. I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the yoga world since COVID, especially in the United States. So, some of the statistics I've seen have shown that 50% of yoga studios have closed since COVID or during and then after COVID. So, we've lost a lot of yoga studios. And what does that mean? Like, can you pull back? Like a lot of people go, "Oh no, that's awful," and yeah, that's really sad in the moment. But let's pull back a little bit and take a bigger perspective on what that could possibly mean for the profession. So I was an aerobics teacher in the 90s. No, sorry, in the 80s. In the 80s, I taught aerobics in college. And what I saw happen in the early 90s is the aerobic studios all closed down. And they're like, can you find an aerobic studio now? No, they're gone. And and aerobics got absorbed into the gyms. And the gyms started to provide different kinds of classes, whether it was, HIT and Zumba and all that stuff, right? So, and then the aerobic studios became yoga studios. So we started to see this proliferation of yoga studios in the United States in the 90s. Even the word yoga studio is kind of interesting historically because it, of course, sounds like a dance studio, right? And so a lot of the exercise that was happening, people who were interested in women who were interested in exercise in the early part of the 20th century were going to dance studios and exercise studios and aerobic studios and yoga studios. I mean, where you see the evolution of it. So what we're seeing now is the sort of downward trend of the studio. So what could that mean for teaching yoga? It doesn't mean yoga is going to go away. It means we have to reconceptualize how we're teaching it, right? And where we're teaching it. And my thought, my opinion, and the work I've been doing for many, many years leads me to believe that what's coming next is qualified, professional, well trained yoga teachers in the healthcare spaces. That's something that's always been a part of who I am and what I do. And my first yoga teaching experience in 1995 to 2001, I taught in an assisted living nursing home facility. So my first experiences were with teaching chair yoga, and I've always been on that side of things. I've taught at intensive outpatient and partial hospitalization programs for folks who are in recovery from addiction. I've taught at the Mountain Area Health Education Center. I've taught at nursing homes. I mean, this has always been a part of what I do. I've taught at a lot of healthcare conferences. Um, and I think there's a couple things coming down the track that you might want to pay attention to if you're interested in teaching that way. Like if you want to keep teaching in the gym, yoga studio space, and I kind of put them together because those are private wellness kind of industry areas, and that's a huge wellness is a $600 billion industry. Like let's not I don't want to poo-poo it. It certainly is an important way of teaching yoga, but healthcare is a $4.6 trillion industry. And I think that is the direction, even though there's some pain and some problems associated with it, no doubt. But I think that's kind of the direction where things are going. What's happening right now is a coming together of many different modalities within the healthcare realm. and it's what's being called whole health. Whole health is being promoted. A big report came out earlier this year from the National Academies of Medicine promoting whole health, wanting whole health to be delivered not just in the VA administration, but also in throughout the culture. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. There's going to be a lot of opportunity. I'm writing about it in my blog, so keep an eye out for my blogs. I'm writing about it over the next few weeks. I think the opportunity is going to be there for yoga professionals, and I think there's two things that are really important. One is to know your research, so you can say, and you don't have to know a lot. You can get a couple of meta analysis on like yoga for depression if you want to work in that area, or yoga for heart health. There's tons of that from Dean Ornish and other people, and say, look, yoga can support that. Here's the research. Because the research is the language of the healthcare community. So if you can say, I've got research on this. And then the second important thing is your training. So if you want to work with people with cancer, do a yoga for cancer training with somebody like do your due diligence and find reputable people to study with. If you want to work with pelvic floor health, same thing, and then you can start to collaborate with people in your community on this whole health initiative, and then offering what you can offer in your area of expertise, or you're just, you're really up on the literature, you're working with nervous system stuff, you want to work with chronic disease prevention. There's so many different, like the possibilities are endless. So we have to get out of confining ourselves to the gym and yoga studio box, I think, if we want this profession to be sustainable, particularly post-COVID, when people said, the other day I saw a post, a comment on one of my posts where somebody said, one of her friends said to her, why would I pay money to do yoga with you when I can get it for free with Adrienne on YouTube, right? Um, that's the reality of the way that a lot of consumers are looking at it. So we have to educate the consumers, we have to educate them about the benefits of studying yoga personalized with a good yoga teacher. We have to educate the healthcare professionals about the levels of our training. That 200 hours is just scratching the surface. If you have a 500-hour training and then some specialized trainings, you're setting yourselves apart. If you're a yoga therapist, even more so, and you can use that as a way to point to the to your professionalism, and as a way to say, like, I'm ready to teach this thing. I want to teach. I want to teach in this way, and I'm prepared to do so, more than somebody who has done a weekend training and glommed it onto their fitness certificate, right? So we need to do a lot of education, we need to do differentiation, and we need to be up on the literature and saying, like, this is what I can do, and this is what yoga can do, and I want to help you in your organization to create better health in my community. I have a couple other things. I'm too much right now, but I have a couple of things I want to tell you about. So maybe a little bit next week, and also I will be writing about this in my blogs. So I want you to check it out because I have some really actionable ideas for yoga professionals, and to how to make your career work. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to hear from you. What do you think about these ideas? Please leave a comment, and let me know what you think. And I'll see you next week. Lots of love. Take care.